evening. Thank y'all so much for coming tonight to our parent meeting, our 8th grade student parent meeting. When I was working on the PowerPoint and I was putting in class of 2026, I had to think really long and hard about that. I was like, oh, wow. You know, but yes, your students will be our class of 2026. And we are so excited to have you here to talk about their plans for next school year and then as they're moving and progressing through high school. So we'll have times for questions at the end, and then this is also being recorded this evening, so if you want to go back, we'll be adding it to the middle school webpage, we'll be adding it to our Counselor High School webpage, so you'll be able to go back and revisit and review some of the things we talk about this evening. I'd like to start off first of all, if this is going to let me, Mr. Brown, we might not be able to use this, it's not going to be cooperative. We'd like to start off this evening by introducing our administration, and we have our principal, Ms. Rhonda Meath, here this evening.
Thank y'all for coming, everyone.
Our assistant principal for students with last names A through K is Mr. Tony Graham. Our assistant principal for students with last name, not working, L through Z is Mr. Darius Robertson. And then on our counseling team, you ready, Augie? The next one for me? Thank you. Our counseling department and student support, we have Mr. Brown, who is our counselor for students with last names A through K. I'm Patty Kinger. I'm one of the counselors for students' last names L through Z. We have Ms. Stevenson, who just walked in.
Yes.
She's our dual credit coordinator and our campus testing coordinator. We have Ms. Valdez, who was greeting you at the front door, and she's our counselor secretary. Ms. Bleicher is our registrar, so she's there to support our students when you have questions about transcripts or other information that you may need. Ms. Morgan's here this afternoon, and she's our community and schools here at the high school. We also have Ms. Ledford, who's here, and she's one of the counselors if you haven't met her at the middle school. And then we also have some teachers who've been kind enough to come over this evening, and they're going to talk a little bit about their programs, and we'll introduce them in just a few minutes. Okay, here's some important dates and some things that are going to be coming up. It's this week, January 11th through the 14th. Thank you so much. And your 8th graders are going to be making their course selections and working on their 4-year personal graduation plans. And some of your students may have already been talking with you because in the fall, before Christmas holidays, we were over at the middle school working with the 8th graders, and they were working on a hard copy worksheet of their 4-year plans, and we had a presentation, and we had a lot of good questions from our students, and we held on to those 4-year plans for them because, well, you've probably looked inside some of your students' backpacks, and that's why we still have them. But they also took pictures of their 4-year plans. A lot of them did with their cameras. So if you ask them, what did you start, what plans have you made, you could see if they've saved it. Tomorrow when we go in and meet with them in their 8th grade English classes, again, we will distribute those 4-year plans for them to review and use as they're doing their course planning. And again, we're going to collect them just because we want to keep a little bit of hands-on and tight hands on those while they're doing this course selection till we're finished. Then what they're going to be doing tomorrow and this week is they're going to be entering their 4-year plans and their course selections in what is called Zello. And Zello, if you've heard of career cruising, it's a part of career cruising. It's just now called Zello. So students have access, and I'm going to talk just a little bit about Zello here in a minute, just so that you know. But this is going to be a place that's going to house that 4-year plan, so they can go back and review it throughout their high school career, and even on it, after they can use this software as they go on after high school. February 23rd through the 27th is going to be an opportunity, and we'll be sending out sky alerts and reminders to you, but it's going to be an opportunity for you to review what did your students choose for 9th grade, and is that a good fit, and those kind of things after talking with us tonight. And then you'll have an opportunity, and your student will have an opportunity to make any requests for changes. We have a Google form that we create, and we'll make sure that they get that information, and the students can go in there and enter any type of change that, for example, they chose PE and now they want to be in athletics. That'll be their opportunity to request that change, for us to make that change in Skyward for them. At the bottom, we talk about our course planning guide, and there's a link to it, but I also have it here in some other places in the PowerPoint. So when I was talking about Zello a minute ago, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what Zello offers our students, because many of them will just be introduced to it this week. But it's a great tool for our students. It helps students build those real-world skills, planning and preparing and navigating for their future. There's a lot of neat things for them to do. There's interactive career, personality, and learning style assessments that they can go in, take these quizzes, and then it aligns them with possible career opportunities, salary ranges. Are they wanting a 2-year or technical training? Are they wanting a 4-year? How does that look? And so they can really personalize it. Also, by doing those assessments, they get more background on their own. What are their unique interests and skills and strengths? And they may see something and think, that I didn't know anything about that. And so it's just a great tool. It also helps them with connecting with real relevant careers. They can actually create a individualized portfolio that they can use post-high school. So they'll have access to this after high school. So if they're doing college planning, career planning, and they're out of high school, they can go in and look and go, oh, where did I save that? Oh yeah, it's in Zello, and they can have access to it after high school. But most importantly for us right now from 8th grade is they are going to have their 4-year. In the past, we're very excited to have this. In the past, it's been on paper, we've kept it in files. Now it's going to be electronic. You can look at it, the students can look at it together, so we're really excited to have that. Okay, Mr. Brown?
It's important as they make the transition from 8th grade up to 9th grade that they know and that you know what it takes to graduate from Rockport-Fulton High School. And it takes 26 credits. And 4 of those credits have to be in English. 4 of them have to be in math. 4 of them in science. 4 in social studies. 2 in a language other than English. 1 PE credit. 1 fine art credit. And 6 electives. And all students that come over from 8th grade to 9th grade will automatically be on the multidisciplinary endorsement. The school has to offer an endorsement, and all kids that come over start out on the multidisciplinary. In addition to passing your courses and all that stuff, there's 5 other things that you have to pass in order to graduate from Rockport-Fulton High School. And these are the end of course exams, also called the STAR test. And so they, in their freshman year, most freshmen will be taking 3. They'll take English 1, Algebra 1, and Biology. English 2 will be taken in their sophomore year, and then U.S. History will be taken in their 11th grade year. And one of the things that sometimes can cause some confusion is the GPA. GPA stands for grade point average, and all students will have a grade point average, and this grade point average begins in their 9th grade year. So it doesn't start in their sophomore year, where they don't get to play around in their 9th grade year. The grade GPA starts in their 9th grade year. And only the following courses will be will be calculated into the GPA. So that'd be their English courses, science, fine art, the first one taken. Languages other than English will be the 2. Math, social studies, and PE, only the first one taken. And you also need to know that The top 10%, so the top 10% highest GPAs, that could mean it's an automatic admission to any public university in the state of Texas. And you also need to know that we do have some bonus points that are added into the GPA as students take the courses. So if a student takes an honors class, that can result in 10 extra points added to their grade, the GPA. If they take an AP or a dual credit course, that can mean 15 points added to their GPA. So.
And I would like to mention, if they are taking high school credit courses now in 8th grade, those will also be added in to their, if it meets this criteria.
Okay. So, tomorrow and days after, the kids will register for 7 classes and 1 advisory. The students will also choose 3 alternate classes, hopefully ranked in the order that they would like to have if one of the other classes doesn't work out. What we do with the alternate classes is if something happens and we have to use or put one of those alternate classes onto the schedule, we like to have it already so that we don't have to, during the summer, we don't have to be making phone calls just to ask what you want to take. So we do 7 classes, 3 alternate courses. Yes?
It's very important that they do request those alternates, because if they don't have an alternate choice, then Mr. Brown and I a lot of times are left to make that decision. It's usually not the choice that they would have wanted.
Yeah.
Right,
we don't seem to get it right very often. So. Some important things to know. Please refer to the course planning guide for prerequisite information. That is online, and I think there's a little link there. I can't see it. It is really small there too. But yeah, there is a link there for the planning guide. And students are advised to carefully choose courses. What students select is what they will be scheduled for next school year. So the choices they make now will be what will be on their schedule come August.
That's a tough conversation to have with our 9th graders, our incoming 9th graders, because there's a little bit more flexibility at the middle school, but our schedule and our courses are driven by what our students choose. So our master schedule is built around what our students select. So when they come the first day of school, or they see their schedules posted before school starts, and now they want to make some changes to their schedule, it's next to impossible, because we have so many classes decided before they start. We have so many welding, culinary, English regular, English honors, all of those things. And it's a process of building a master schedule. Is there anything you want to add to that, Ms. Mee?
I think it's very difficult for a lot of people to decide 6 months before an event, what am I really going to do? It's like saying, what am I wearing the first day of school 6 months in advance? Nobody can predict that. But oftentimes, students will make decisions, and then when they see what their friends have chosen, they often want to make changes based upon that. And unfortunately, it just is not easy for us to make moves like that. If I have 25 students who say I'm going to take a particular course, that's great. I can make 1 class for 25 students. But if 15 of them come in and say, I want to drop that class, well, now I only have a class of 10, and I probably shouldn't even have that class to begin with. So it really does create some problems if we have a lot of students who want to drop and change classes. So it is really important that students figure out what they want to take and then give us some alternates in case that doesn't work out.
Thank you. So we have some big questions to think about. And as Mr. Brown was discussing a few minutes ago, Are our students going to be taking regular courses? So those are the courses that they should be on grade levels, standard expectation, some homework, or are they gonna be on that honors pathway? Are they gonna wanna take advanced grade level classes? They're more rigorous, higher expectation, definitely additional homework, additional outside work they have to do. You know, so you wanna look at your student to see what's the best fit. Are they gonna be very active, band or athletics or other things that are gonna take up a lot of their afternoon and evening and weekend time, and still expecting them to do all that additional work outside of the school day? Because again, there are the prerequisites, but there's an honors advanced, AP is advanced placement contract, and the students have the first 6 weeks of school as an opportunity to see, okay, is this a good fit for me? If not, then they're gonna request a drop. Now, what happens to their schedule? Because I may not be able, Mr. Brown may not be able to move them into a course that's a lateral move from one English honors, for example, to a regular. And now I'm having to shift all their classes, and it can be very challenging. It's not even just your regular honors classes. Is athletics gonna be a good fit for them? Our coaches expect our athletes to be playing a sport. They can't just go into athletics and not participate. And that's a big challenge for changing them. There may not be very many other classes during those periods to offer them. So you can see it's time to have those really important conversations. Not sure if they should take honors next year. This should be, we've already talked to the 8th graders. This is a time for them to talk to their 8th grade teachers. You know, am I ready for that rigor? How am I doing this year? Okay, because this year is not even gonna be as challenging for them as their 9th grade in those honors classes. So we want them talking to their teachers to see, is that a good fit for me? So some more important things to know, as Mr. Brown mentioned earlier, the 26 credits. We're gonna talk about some of the components of this. For our foreign language or language other than English, the student will need 2 credits in the same language. There are 2 different paths they can take. We would definitely recommend Spanish for most students. Spanish 1, 9th grade, Spanish 2, 10th grade. We want them to take them consecutively, back to back. We don't want them to skip years. So that's gonna take one of those places out of the 7. So they're gonna have their 4 core classes. Now we're gonna ask them to choose their language other than English. They can take honors. Computer science in the state of Texas is recognized as a language other than English. They are learning a language. Some colleges, we want to caution you, some colleges may not recognize that as a language for their requirements for their admissions. So we're asking you now to think about, well, what are their plans for after high school, especially if they're looking at like an engineering program at A&M or something like that. Is computer science gonna be recognized for their admissions process? Okay, so something to think about. Also, our computer science classes are honors classes. Computer science 1, all of our computer science. Well, there's some that are AP. What's important to note here, if your student chose computer science for their language other than English, and now they have decided to drop the class, and we're in our 6th week, or they're not successful the first 9 weeks, for example, and now we have to drop them from the class and put them somewhere else, well, we can't put them in Spanish, because now they've missed too many weeks of instruction or 9 weeks. So that can be difficult trying to fill a slot for them for their schedule. So again, good conversations to have with your student. Do you want to add anything? Okay.
No,
We covered it. PE, as Mr. Brown mentioned, all students are required to have 1 credit of PE, and PE can be earned in through athletics. 1 year of athletics. It can be earned through 1 year of ROTC. It can be earned through band, through 2 fall semesters of band. So if a student takes a full year of band, their first semester marching band will count towards their PE credit, and their second semester of band will count in their fine arts credit. And then 2nd year, the same thing, fall, half a credit of PE, half credit of their fine arts. They can earn it through PE Many of your students right now, if they're in 8th grade PE, are earning their PE credit, okay? And then cheer for the students that are, that make our cheer squad, they can earn their PE credit, but it is not offered during the school day. It's an outside the school day credit, okay? For fine arts, our students can earn credit through art. Some of them may be taking art right now at the middle school, so they're earning their fine art credit through art in middle school, through band, as I mentioned, through our theater arts program, or through our choir program. So there are some options. Also, we have, and I apologize, I have digital arts. We have two different arts. We have art and we also have digital arts. So there's two different, if your students really enjoy computers and working and drawing and that kind of thing on computers as opposed to pen and paper, they could have that as an option as well. Okay, Mr. Brown.
And electives, remember earlier I said that 6 electives are required to graduate from Rockport-Fulton High School, and these electives can be picked from these courses, or these areas. Go ahead. And so we've got our arts, audio, video, and technology area, cluster, career cluster.
Can we stop there? I think we have Ms. Young here,
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
They could be a great
Come on
opportunity.
up, Ms. Young. This is Ms. Young, and Ms. Young is in our CTE department, and she chairs our CTE department, and she's going to talk to you briefly about some of the course offerings in this particular career cluster.
Hello, my name's Ms. Young. I'm the yearbook advisor and then also the CTE department chair. We have lots of opportunities for students to kind of feel out and figure out, is this something that I like or is this something that I don't like? So we have, this year we have graphic design all the way into year 3. So it's something that they're really interested in, they can continue with it year after year. It does require an intro course, so the introduction to principles of arts, audio, video, tech, that would need to come before something like photography or graphic design. We do have business management, business information management. So this is going to be more like Microsoft Office, learning Excel and spreadsheets and databases and access and presentations, all good skills right wherever you go. I want to back up for a second. The arts and audio video tech, that's Adobe strong. So Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom possibly, InDesign, things like that. And in all of these softwares, they can earn or pass the certification test and get certified in these industry recognized certifications. So it's a really, really good opportunity. It doesn't cost anything to them. It's covered by the school. And to go on with that, we have other certifications in other areas. So health science is something that we've had, 2 years now. Lots of kids are interested in it. We have a great teacher, Mrs. Johnson. They can get certified in their EKG and phlebotomy. And of course, there are a couple intro courses that they have to take for that as well. Hospitality and tourism, so culinary arts. Lots of kids like this. I think they're hungry all the time, kind of like all of us are. But it's, they take an intro course and then they have year 2, year 3, and they also can be a part of FCCLA, which is like a student organization. Thank you, my mind's kind of tired. A student organization, and they do competitions outside of school. Have potential for leadership. It's just a great program. And then they also have a certification. Forgive me, I can't. ServSafe. Computer science, you saw that with the language, but it could be an elective of theirs. They don't have to take it. So if they took Spanish, I guess, and they could also take that. And then we have 2 of our awesome teachers for welding and maritime over here. This is David Wilson and Josh Wynn. They know a little bit more about these last 2. Some of the
In manufacturing, we have welding 1, welding 2, and a practicum class. In the 9th grade, they're going to be taking an introduction to welding class. And it's basic tools, safety, and all in the realm of welding. But it's a certification through a national industry a national certification, NCCER, National Center of Construction Research and Education. And it's a certification recognized worldwide now. And they'll be able to get a certification in this safety course in the 9th grade. And then in the 10th, 11th, and 12th can finish off a Welding 1 certification, which is it's actually a post-secondary education. It's what the college, Del Mar, is using, and the Craft Training Center of the Coastal Bend, another tech school in Corpus that they're using. So they're actually getting a post-secondary education in high school. So that's pretty neat. And we do community work, and I mean, they're 9th grade, they're in the introduction class. In the 10th grade, they're in a Welding 1 class, learning how to weld. In the 11th grade, they're getting ready to be in practicum, so I'm preparing them to be in the 12th grade. They're still fine-tuning their skills and getting ready for practicum. Practicum is a unpaid internship at ACISD. So, unpaid. So they're working for me at ACISD out there. We do work for the maintenance department, we do work for the community, and I've always got something for them to do. And it's a real good program. If you have any questions, I'll stick around later and you can ask me. Booyah.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah, so I'll talk about the Maritime Program. I talked to some of y'all as y'all came in, kind of singled you guys out and started handing out the pamphlets. Some of y'all picked up the pamphlets, which I appreciate. The Maritime Program starting up, it'll be the first year when y'all are ready for 9th grade. So it'll be the first time that we open the program. This year I'm building the program. Some of y'all may have heard of it, but mainly right now all I have is a club. And the club we've been able to do quite a bit of things. The 9th grade class is all about, I think he talked about the NCCR core already. The NCCR core safety is great because it does cover all your bases, which is why the Introduction to Maritime, the 9th grade course, is going to include that. Again, NCCR core is worldwide recognized, just like he was saying, it's a beautiful course. We're going to build on that foundation. Then we're going to get into Principles of Maritime Science 1, and then Principles of Maritime Science 2. Both of those are designed to get your experience on the water to a better level. Whatever your experience is, we're going to make it better. Different processes, safety's big for us, especially on the water. Sometimes you're out there and something happens. You have your cell phone, maybe, depends on where you're at on the water. Then we get Advanced Shipboard Engineering. The Advanced Shipboard Engineering is going to be more mechanical, so diesel engine power generation, electricity, etc. All of it's geared for the maritime industry, but any of y'all that know about the maritime industry, that umbrella is huge. It could be offshore, it could be shipyard, it could be here in Rockport. The industry is massive, and from what the reason that Texas let us teach this is because it's 30% looks like is what we're losing. Is what is growing, I guess what I should say. There's going to be 30% of the jobs available over the next 4 years. So that sounds pretty cool. It's rapid growth. Yeah, so if you're a kid or if you are other child going into 9th grade and you see them working on the water in your future, I'm working towards, you'll be working towards getting a Merchant Mariner credential, which is the captain's license. What does that open up for you? Ultimately, that opens up, Rockport's fishing guides, right? So we got fishing guides available. That also opens up industries like Brownwater Fleet, which is the tugboat operators, etc. I'll be around, so if you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Booyah.
Thank y'all.
Ms. Young, the next slide, do you want to talk a little bit about the yearbook?
Sure. So some of your students or some of their friends might be in 8th grade yearbook. I went actually down and talked to the class last week and got to meet some of them and see if any were interested. They can participate in publishing the yearbook with us, be on the staff. There is an application process, and it's just to kind of see what area of the yearbook do you want to work in? Is it photography? Is it the writing? Is it more the design? Is it the marketing and selling? Is it the organization and kind of paperwork? So there's lots of opportunities, and we become like a little family, and you know, we spend a lot of time together to put together a full publication yearbook. It's in design, so they get that experience with Adobe. Again, leadership positions like editors and different things like that. But there is an application, and there's a link that will be on the counselors.
Yes, on our 8th grade counselor, Google Classroom, and we'll be talking about that with them tomorrow. So for them, for the students that are interested in taking yearbook or sports medicine, I'm gonna talk about that in just a minute, then they will actually complete an application, okay? Thank you, Ms. Jenny. You did some great work.
So the other elective options, besides yearbook, is theater arts and technical theater. Theater art deals with the stage and acting. Technical theater deals with what happens behind the stage, so set design, lighting, that kind of stuff. The things that happen behind the stage to make the play happen. Art, ROTC, we have a very good ROTC program. Does any of the ROTC people? No, I guess, okay. And sports medicine. And an application is required for sports medicine. So,
One thing about, well, I will mention with ROTC, I know they've been over to meet with our 8th graders, but it is a wonderful program. They are learning leadership skills, and, you know, it's really just setting them up for future success. So, you know, if your student's a little bit shy or hasn't really found their niche, this is a great community of students to work with. And they do very well in competition. They're going to state here in like early March, and they're just very excited about that. I know they're hopefully go on to national, they were telling me. So we appreciate Commander-in-Chief back there working with them. Sports medicine, we have a lot of students that want to be in sports med. Well, unfortunately, we just have a limited number of seats available. So I encourage all our students, any student that's choosing sports med, they definitely want to have an alternate choice because it's just limited. We just, you know, have less than 40 spaces basically, but that's because we just have limited opportunities for them. She can't have, you know, 100 sports med students out there on the field running around, so we have to limit what we offer. Again, we have our course description guide online. You can go in and review course descriptions and any prerequisites or any of those things that we may have not mentioned this evening. One last thing that we want to talk with, we've invited Ms. Stevenson in because in the past we really haven't talked a lot about dual credit, but we want that in the back of these students' minds so that we can start planning. We're planning 4 years. Is dual credit in their 4-year plan?
Right, so as a freshman, students won't be taking a dual credit course, but at their sophomore year, that may be an opportunity. So as they're thinking about their 4-year plan, I just wanted to share some information that I would like to know as my child was transitioning into high school. So it does begin their sophomore year, and dual credit means that students are dually enrolled. They're enrolled at Rockport-Fulton High School at the same time they're enrolled at Del Mar College, is who we team with. And so students are earning their high school credits at the same time while they're earning college credit toward their college core. So colleges have a traditional core curriculum that no matter what major you're going into, there's about 42 classes that you will take. And so those are the types of courses that we would encourage our students to take while they're working on their high school core requirements as well. So registration typically begins in February. We're going to start that for this next semester with the early registration of like spring break deadline for our students for the fall, and so it's always early, or October for the following December, or for the spring. I have to work on my dates for that, but so our spring semester semester's just is starting here on the 18th, so our students started registering for this semester back in October. And there's still some that we're working on. So students have to meet a college readiness standard to participate in a dual credit course. So it could be a PSAT score, it could be an SAT score, so maybe they take a PSAT their 10th grade year. We could use that score if it's high enough and to qualify as being college ready. So, because they are college level courses, so, and we want them to be successful, but this is not just Rockport-Fulton High School's requirement, it's a college requirement for students to meet the college ready standard for each course. Or there's an exam called the TSIA 2.0 now, that we offer here at the high school, and we also offer it, Del Mar College also offers it. So they need to make at the college ready standard for sure in reading and English writing and reading. They don't have to meet the college readiness in math to get started. So, but if students want to take a college level math course or the economics course, then they do need to score higher on that, on the math portion of these exams. And then to register, they complete an application to Del Mar because they're applying to Del Mar College, and there's also some registration paperwork that will help them with. And then, so some examples of the offerings. So as a sophomore, students may start with an elective course, like speech, fundamentals of public speaking is a good one for students to start with. Or a creative arts course, like music appreciation or art appreciation. Because these courses are all online, it's a new, they use a different platform for learning. They use a platform called Canvas rather than Google Classroom. There's not a face-to-face teacher, so there's some adjustment to doing dual credit courses. So they usually start with an elective, and as we talked about GPA, these would just be the elective courses for students entering now under this new GPA plan. It would be, wouldn't go necessarily toward their GPA unless it was their first fine arts course. But when they get into the core area, like a history course, our juniors often take U.S. history, 1301, instead of American history at Rockport-Fulton High School. So they can get their junior year high school credit while earning the college requirement for history. Or English, their senior year. English 1301 and 1302 is offered through dual credit, so students their senior year can have their freshman English course, college English course out of the way, and also get their senior level English credit. So they're working on both avenues. So there's some pros and cons to all of that, or things to consider. I mentioned one, that it's a different format for their learning. So if a student needs a face-to-face teacher to say, don't forget that assignment's due, or you haven't, make sure you study for that test tomorrow, or here's the review, then this may not be the best option for them. Or they can start with one and see how they go, like with the speech. But so it is, though, a great opportunity to save money on college tuition. So our dual credit courses cost right now $99. The school district pays $20 of that per course. So for 3 college hours, for $100, they have a college course paid for. Whereas even if they go to Del Mar after they graduate from high school, that would be maybe $400 now, $500 per course. So, and our students are leaving here, the ones who have really worked on their dual credit plan and are being successful, they're leaving Rockport-Fulton High School with 27 college hours or so. So 27 to 30. So that's their freshman year, out of the way.
I'm gonna jump in real quick to say something because my son personally benefited from this. A year of college, if a student is on a campus living, it is about $20,000 to $25,000. my son was able to get 27 hours in high school, and he was able to graduate in 3 years. That is saving me $20,000. That is huge, that is huge. So if your child is interested in going to college and you think that they're ready to try dual credit, please encourage them to start off sophomore year, just to dip their toes in to see if this is something that they can do, because it can really pay off for you and for them in the long run.
Yeah, we were saying when we were thinking about this slide, we were thinking, we haven't had a student come back and say, I wish I didn't take all those dual credit classes. So now there have been a few who haven't been successful, and it wasn't the right time for them to do it. But for the most part, I'd say over 95% of our students have been very successful with their dual credit courses. It does provide them that head start, so they graduate earlier, and when you feel like you're never going to graduate, it's nice to be able to do it in 3 years rather than 4 or 5. And one thing, though, to consider is you are building your college transcript. So that A you get on a dual credit course is on your college transcript. So it matters. Or if you, on the other side, if you fail a dual credit course, that's on your college transcript until you can retake that course and to get that off. But you may not have time to get everything in. And it does offer kind of a controlled introduction to college. So students are scheduled into what we call the Shipyard, and that's where they do their courses online. They have support from other classmates while they're in there, and we do have a facilitator who may remind them if they know about a test is coming up or something like that. But otherwise they have time, a designated time to do that, which is nice than just being enrolled personally on an online class and you have to figure out when you're going to do it. At least you're scheduled to do it. So there's some some nice benefits to doing that. So there'll be more information as you would like, and I'm here to answer questions, but just something to keep in your mind as your child is thinking about 4-year plans.
I forget the question. I'm
Yes,
gonna ask.
sure.
All the classes are transferable to any Texas college?
It depends. So for the most part, every Texas public university now has to accept these dual credit courses. They didn't have to a few years ago. There was some new legislation. Maybe in the last 3 years since I've started, there was some new legislation that now colleges need to accept that. But you want to stay within the core curriculum. If you take like we offer an accounting class that's dual credit. Well, that's not going to go towards someone's college core. But we have students who might be interested in maybe pursuing that degree, so it's an option for them to take as an elective. But they wouldn't want to take too many of those, but we don't offer too many of those. So, like we used to have students take they would take psychology and sociology. Well, they really only need one of those behavioral science courses. So yes, if they're going to a liberal arts school, like a upper end liberal arts campus, then some of these dual credit courses wouldn't be needed toward their degree plan. But a public university in Texas or beyond, the core courses will transfer. Like if they were enrolled at Del Mar College, taking the core, it will transfer.
Well, I asked because there was an instance, it's been 7 years now, but the math did not transfer to another Texas college.
Now, math is trickier when it comes to what your degree plan is. So we offer like college algebra and statistics and a few others. We've noticed that when I've called about to Texas A&M College Station, that they wanted their engineering students to take the statistics course, not the college algebra course. So you have to do some legwork for when it comes to science and math. But yeah, and it's hard to know if they're not sure which degree they want to get when they're looking at math. But yes, there has been new legislature because I think in the past the colleges wanted your money and didn't want students to be getting these courses, taken earlier. All right, I know I've spent more time than you wanted me
Good
to
info.
on that.
Thank you.
You know, it's working backwards, right? So when we're having conversations with your students, once they are here, 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and they're talking about their dual credit, well, the question is, what do you want to do after high school? And so we'll look at college websites, and we're looking at transfer equivalency. Well, will this transfer to what you want to do? So now, when they say they want to take dual credit, my first question is going to be, okay, what do you want to do after high school? Because I need to know that information. So is what you're taking as a dual credit course going to be beneficial to you after high school? But as Ms. Stevenson said, for the core courses, for most of those, and you can look at that information on any college website and just type in transfer equivalency. So that is going to conclude our presentation. I would like to just welcome Ms. Paula Dean here from our ACE program. I did not mention Ms. Dean, but she supports us here and all of our students. And I know we have our ACE program, and we didn't include a slide about clubs and activities at the high school, but we do have a lot of great clubs and organizations, and we want your children involved. We know that our students do so much better when they are involved at the high school. And also Mr. Thornberry in the back, I want to recognize him. He's our band director at the high school. So I just want to, hopefully I didn't leave anyone else out. As we're moving forward the rest of the spring semester and you're thinking about the courses your child is planning to take next year, we ask that you first go speak with your middle school counselors. They'll communicate with us if there's a question or a change or something has come up. And of course, you're more than welcome to contact us, but we're going to be busy in the classrooms with students now till close to spring break and doing all of these course requests and getting all the information into Skyward so that we can build those schedules for next year. Do we have any other questions this evening? Yes, sir.
You're going to be showing these itineraries or plans to the kids tomorrow?
Well, they've already been working on them.
I'm aware of that.
So-
And you said you're going back starting tomorrow with them?
Yes, sir, we are. And I'm gonna just pull up something real quick for you to see what they're seeing. Well, Augie, I guess I can't do it. Can you see this? Yes, okay, great. So your student tomorrow, they're gonna take their plan that they have on paper, and now they're going to work on building their courses tomorrow. And so they've got their hard copy that they worked on already. And so we're gonna walk them through the 9th grade year, and we want the 9th grade year completed, and they should have enough time built in their English class tomorrow that they already have it in front of them. It's a matter of going in and finding the courses and clicking the courses for their choices. And they can go home and open this up for you, and they can show you what their plan is. We can print these off. Our hope is to do an electronic signature, and then also to make this available to you. We're just not there yet. It's new to us. We're still learning our side of it and communicating with our student portal for Skyward. So there's been some processes to get worked through. Otherwise, we'd be a little bit further along. But this is what your student's going to see tomorrow and work on.
That
Okay?
now leads to my question.
Yes, sir.
My daughter's out sick this week.
Okay.
So will there be an opportunity next week, or we don't get to look at it again until February 23rd?
No, sir. We have it open right now. Good question, right, Mr.? So we have our student roster, so we know who's not going to be in class tomorrow. And now it's going to be Ms. Ledford and Ms. Lopez calling those students in or meeting with them together to get their courses set up.
When,
No, we're not gonna leave anyone out. We want them to work on it and, be able to get that done.
Thank you.
Are you gonna have us sign off on this or something, or?
And you'll also have an opportunity to see it in Skyward and make any other changes to it. Were you here earlier in the presentation when we talked about the dates, February 23rd through the 27th, it'll be in Skyward available for you to view. We will include a little step-by-step of how you can go in and look at the Skyward, request for next year. That's a good question, thank you.
Late February.
Sorry, late February.
That she should be able to look at it mid to late February.
That's correct, that's correct. Any other questions? Well, we appreciate your time. Look forward to working with your students tomorrow and the rest of the week. And thank y'all again for coming out this evening.